It's Saturday night. I guess that makes it all right for us to talk about football. We are the End Game. I'm Pierre. He's Chris, and we're here to talk about who you should start and sit for fantasy football. But really, it's time for you to do the talking. Ask us who you think that we should say yes or no to, and this is your chance to give us your lineup, your questions. We can do trade questions too. Let us have it. So in the chat right here, the way this works, if you're new to the channel, first of all, welcome. So if you're new, then what you do is just in the chat, type your question and we'll get to it and we'll give you our best answer. We'll try to give as much detail as possible. Now, again, not everybody, unfortunately, will necessarily get their question answered in time because we'll have a lot. So start queuing them up. There's a couple of things you can do to make sure that your question gets answered. And number one is you can do the super chat feature, something that YouTube has. It's kind of neat. But even better is if you become a patron, then you can look for information in the description below on how to join on patreon.com. And I guarantee you it is worth it because you will get this very same question and answer session with us Sunday morning with the latest information in a smaller group, and you have a lot more of our time. So it is worth it. Trust me. But let's get to it. First of all, we're going to start with your injury report, tell you who's in, who's out, and who's questionable. And then we'll get to your questions. And Chris, standard disclaimer. Also, we always do this. We do want to try to get everyone's questions answered, but it's not necessarily going to happen, right? So we want you guys, again, to consider those other features. And, things will change. So also check out our Discord. Right, we have Discord. Chris is always active on there, pretty much. Right, I'd say 24, almost 24/7.
My wife would say 24/7, but it's not quite 24/7.
Okay, not 24/7, but it's pretty close. It's open 24/7. How about that? You can post in there 24/7.
That's true.
All right, so injury time, everybody's favorite. No need to ask about these guys. They are out. Definitely not going to play. Let's start with Alvin Kamara. Again, unfortunately, not going to make it. At least there's some clarity, right? We don't have to wait until game time. That's the good thing, at least with these guys. So we get more Mark Ingram. It was okay last week. It was solid, pretty solid. Got the volume. That's what matters. So no Alvin Kamara, no DeAndre Hopkins again. And of course, with the bye week coming next week, that means you're going to be out with your number one receiver for 3 straight weeks. So let's hope 4. Is it 4 or 3? Yeah.
This is his third week out, and next week will be 4, but it's a bye. So.
Wow. Okay. So be prepared, extended absence without Hopkins. But Kyler Murray going back to that same team here because he also had missed last week. Right now he is questionable, ? So Chris, your gut feeling he is going to play?
I'm really 50-50 on this. If Hopkins was playing, I'd say he has a better chance, but they may just sit him one more week. They did lose last week, so that does maybe give them a little bit more urgency, but the Rams keep losing, so maybe not. I'm pretty 50-50 on that one. I don't really have a strong feeling either way.
Yeah, I'm leaning, maybe I'm just an optimist, but I'm leaning towards he is going to play because I know the bye is next week and they could just sit him. But again, the fact they lost and Colt McCoy looked a lot worse in this last game, and they don't want to head into, now week 12 next week going with a losing streak because they hadn't done that all year, lost back-to-back games. So again, be ready to have a substitute, I guess. Let's just put it that way. Some surprise late week inactives, and not because of injury, that's COVID. Amari Cooper is going to be out, and double whammy, he's also going to be out for Thanksgiving because they play early this next week, of course, on Thursday, and he's not going to be cleared because it doesn't sound like he's vaccinated. So take that for what it's worth. No Amari Cooper, no Marquise Brown. What was the deal? We just found that out like a couple hours ago.
Well, he had a thigh injury. And I don't know if he practiced at all during the week. Was kind of questionable to play all week long. And then today they ruled him out. Now, the little bit of the concern here is Lamar Jackson has some kind of illness. And he didn't practice all week. Then I think he got a limited practice in Friday. He is traveling with the team. But the fact that they ruled out Marquise Brown and they also activated, I think, Trace McSorley off the practice squad makes me a little nervous for Lamar Jackson right now. So might want to have a backup plan ready just in case.
Yeah, so that's why I say he's traveling, but he's had not COVID, but cold symptoms. just
Yeah,
come
not great.
down and out. But like you said, it sounds like they're making contingencies plans as well. So that's even better. You could be without another top 5 quarterback this week. So be prepared. Aaron Jones still out. Chris Carson out for the season officially. He has been ruled out, so no comeback there. Alex Collins is going to be the guy. He's good for this week. Jeremy McNichols, yeah, not happening. He's out this week. Hopefully, we didn't waste too much fab on him. And then everyone's favorite tight end, Ricky Seals-Jones, is also out. But Logan Thomas is not back yet, though, is he?
No, not activated off IR yet. So I think that next tight end up is named John Bates, if I'm not mistaken. Don't think he's a guy to go add off the waiver wire, though.
No, I think we're going to see a lot more JD McKissick probably. So no tight end action there in Washington. All right, doubtful, which means not officially ruled out, but pretty sure they will be out. And that's Elijah Mitchell, that finger issue. I think he had surgery midweek and it's just not ready. So, oh boy, here we go with Jeff Wilson's season again. Everyone's been waiting for it. We'll see if it happens. But going against Jacksonville, yeah, fire up Jeff Wilson, I guess. Allen Robinson, no one's going to miss him, but he is doubtful, not going to play probably. And Jared Goff, definitely will not be missed by the fantasy community. But we are going to get a heaping helping of Tim Boyle in Detroit. Not that you were going to start any pass catchers from Detroit anyways, except for maybe Hawkinson. Does this make Hawkinson a guy that you just have zero interest in, especially after doing nothing last week?
I wouldn't say zero interest because you look at the guys that are probably on waiver wire, none of them are sure things. You're probably taking a risk. And Tim Boyle's got to throw it to somebody, right? Somebody has to catch passes.
They were barely catching passes from Goff last week, so I don't know.
Are you going to go out to the waiver wire and play Adam Troutman instead, or are you going to play I'm trying to think of guys who maybe Dan Arnold, but Dan Arnold is just a floor play. He's just like a 8 to 10 point PPR floor play. He's not going to get you like a 15, 20 point game. So I would still take my chances with Hawkinson. Obviously, it depends on the other options, but I would still take my chances.
Yeah, I think I mentioned Troutman as a boom, a guy who's starting to come on with Simeon at quarterback. Arnold, solid, but yeah, he's not scoring touchdowns. So there's a limited ceiling because obviously being in Jacksonville. But anyways, Goff is out. So yeah, that makes possibly, if it's possible, Detroit's passing offense even worse. We already mentioned Lamar and Kyler Murray are questionable. Saquon Barkley, perpetually questionable. It seems like he's going to play and return finally after those weeks off, but he has not been officially declared in. But I'm going to be, again, glass half full kind of guy and say he's going to play. So let's hope for that. And Donovan Peoples-Jones, I really like his opportunity this week, but of course he's questionable. And Jarvis Landry's also been banged up. So trouble for another already troubled pass offense there. But we'll see. Keep an eye on DPJ. All right, but good news for Cleveland. Nick Chubb is in. He is definitely active and playing. Some surprises here, actually a lot of surprises. Chase Claypool is back already. He was week to week. Thought he might miss another game, but he's not. He's back, and his buddy Ben Roethlisberger is also back. So that's definitely going to be helpful for them. Dallas Goedert cleared the concussion protocol. He is back, so that's helpful for Jalen Hurts, your guy. And is Miles Sanders helpful? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, you can't play him in his first week back, can you? Because they weren't running the ball with him. Now they're running the ball, but are they going to run the ball with him by giving him the ball?
And again, against the Saints, I don't feel great about it. Hopefully you have better options. Yes. I always get nervous playing a guy just activated off IR the day before the game. I'd like to give him a week to see how they look first. Anyways.
Yeah. And then speaking of, we have CEH. That's right. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is active. Now, they haven't said that he's going to play. They just activated him off IR after his long stay. Darrell Williams has been great, especially lately. So this is almost bad news if you picked up Darrell Williams, this is going to eat into that RB2 production you were getting. I think we're getting a lot of questions about Williams because, like you said, some people might be, hesitant to start Edwards-Helaire, but that's the bigger question is what do you do with Williams now? Do you start him or not? That's going to be a tough call. Honestly, we have no idea what's going to go on there. So that's it. Unless I miss anybody else, any other late breaking news, if there is, and that's happened before, where we get some news during the show, and we'll let you know as it goes. But otherwise, are we ready to go?
We are ready. Questions are coming in fast and furious.
All right, let's do it.
Let's get to it. Tyler Foley, welcome back. Appreciate you with the super chat right off the bat. Ooh, Salvin Ahmed, Dawson Knox, Robbie Anderson, half PPR for his flat.
Wow. We're starting off hot tonight. Man, I know the whole thing with the Jets defense, but I can't start a guy who's barely getting not even 5 carries a game. I can't start Ahmed. I mean, it's just, unless something happened to Gaskin that I don't know of, I just don't see Ahmed getting enough action. So I might lean Robbie Anderson, because Cam's back. He found him in the end zone. I know he didn't get a ton of targets, but this passing offense might have some life, right?
That was gonna be my pick too. I mean, Cam only threw 4 passes, and Robbie Anderson had his best fantasy game of the entire season. So, I mean, sure, maybe Cam doesn't target him a ton, but I think between those guys, like Knox only had 1 target last week. He's just completely touchdown dependent, and even then, 10 points maybe you get from Knox. So I think out of that group, I go Robbie Anderson as well. I'm glad you picked him. Okay, and then another super chat from Lalovia. Big Ben plus Claypool or Daniel Jones plus Tony?
This is an easy one for me. Look, I've never been a fan of Tony, and he did have that one blow-up game. Other than that, he's done nothing. I'm not going to trust Daniel Jones or Tony versus Tampa. I would definitely go with Big Ben and Claypool.
Yeah, I'll take my chances they can hit on one long pass or something. But yeah, Daniel Jones and Tony, no way. All right, Ale, what's up? Got a tight end question. Fryermuth, Conklin, Knox, or Komet? Full PPR.
All right, so I've been touting Komet for a couple of weeks now. Last week was off because of the bye, but the week before that had his best game basically as a pro. And Justin Fields also had his best game as a pro. Allen Robinson is out, and then this defense is actually one of the worst against tight ends. So everything is kind of conspiring for another Komet breakout game. I'm not going to say I guarantee it's going to happen, right? Like it's in the bag because it's still the Bears, but everything points to Komet having a nice game. So I would go with him.
I agree. Komet, I love the situation for him this week. Led the team in targets the week before the bye. Wasn't just, a breakout. He led the team in targets. So without Allen Robinson there, not that Allen Robinson gets 15 targets, but there's enough there. Definitely love Komet. Michael Dobbs, what's up? Used to be here every week last year, I remember. What role? Okay, well, here we go. What role? Well, at least we can get this question out of the way early. What role will Williams have when CEH returns?
Okay. I'm about to start 3 sentences with if. Okay. CEH is playing, but like you said, and we talked about this before the show, we don't know that he's necessarily he's activated. I'm sorry, let me say it. But we don't know for sure that he's necessarily playing. Of course, why would they activate him and then not play him? But okay, if Williams is still the starter, I think he has fantasy value, right? I don't think he's necessarily a guy you must sit just because Edwards-Helaire is back, because Williams has looked good and Edwards-Helaire has been sitting, right? And then if the Chiefs offense looks like it did last week and they can, keep doing what they're doing the smart thing, because Andy Reid's a smart coach, makes adjustments. They're not just living with a deep ball and they're not just forcing the ball into certain guys. They were taking what was given to them underneath and throwing it a lot to Williams. And that's something new, right? They weren't throwing to running backs because, we don't need to throw running backs. We can just throw it deep to Tyreek Hill. And then teams are taking away Tyreek Hill deep with the 2 high safeties. And so they're adjusting. So if they can continue what they've been doing, which I think they will, and if Williams is still the starter, and what was my third if? If the game script is favorable for them, then I think Williams is still a low in RB2 based on this week's situation. So that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, I think the one if that I disagree with is Williams as a starter. I just, teams just don't. I know we get this a lot from people like, oh, Khalil Herbert looked really good. He deserves da-da-da. And then David Montgomery dominates the snaps, because there's a reason why for the first 6 weeks we didn't see barely any Darrell Williams. because the Chiefs like Clyde Edwards-Helaire more. And yeah, Darrell Williams looked good, but that's usually not enough for an NFL team to be like, well, maybe now Darrell Williams should be the starter. Maybe he'll still be the starter this week because Edwards-Helaire is coming back first game from injury. Maybe it's closer to like a 50-50 type of thing. But I do think down the road, we'll see what we saw, unfortunately, for the first 6 games, which is mostly Edwards-Helaire. Maybe we'll see Darrell Williams more than we saw him in those first 6 games, but my guess is no, because that's just not how teams typically operate. They just don't. If they thought Darrell Williams was better, Darrell Williams would have been the starter from week 1. So, I mean, yeah, this week I agree. I think Darrell Williams could be a low-end RB2 just because we don't know if CEH will play maybe only half the snaps or something. But going forward, unfortunately, Darrell Williams wasn't a solid RB2, by the way. Darrell Williams was the RB4. The RB4
last week,
the games Edwards-Helaire missed. He was a stud. So, unfortunately, that dream is over now, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. But my whole thing is just because the offense was so good last week, and just because Darrell Williams has been so good, I think there's still enough that I don't think Edwards-Helaire relegates him to the bench necessarily, because he wouldn't be mixed in. Also, it's not a situation where it's like Devontae Booker and Saquon Barkley, like, oh, hey, Booker looked really good, like they don't care, right? So we'll see, just because they got their mojo back with Williams being such a big part of it. But yeah, there's definitely concern. Not going to lie. I mean, I dropped Williams several spots this week because of the news.
But remember, their offense was really bad for 3 weeks with Darrell Williams. It was only like they got their like it wasn't like their offense was terrible with CEH and then Darrell Williams came in and saved the day. Their offense was really bad for 3 weeks with Darrell Williams. And not a fault of Darrell Williams. I'm not saying it's his fault.
Yeah.
So, I think we're going to see something similar to what we saw early in the year, but just with probably a little more Darrell Williams and a little less CEH. But we'll see. Tyler Foley, another super chat. Tennessee or 49ers defense?
Wow. That's easy. It's the Niners because they're playing Jacksonville. So, and actually, you know what? I'll say one thing. Trevor Lawrence, as bad as he's been, he's not turning the ball over too much lately because they've changed. Instead of getting a ton of yards through the air and throwing 3 interceptions, now it's the opposite. He's throwing for less than 200 yards and not getting intercepted. But yeah, I mean, the 49ers, as long as your defense in your league counts points against as a stat, it's got to be the 49ers.
Tennessee's defense has been on fire, and they got Houston. So
yeah, but I feel like I can see Houston putting up more points than Jacksonville.
Yeah, I definitely see them putting up more points. I think Tennessee has more upside. I think the Niners have the safer floor because, like you said, the Jacksonville, with what's like the most points they can score, 20. Like if they could go off, they can get 20.
Even
if they go off. So yeah, I think Tennessee has the upside, but San Francisco has the floor. And then another super chat from Tone Neg. Needs a running back 2 and a flex in full PPR. Gibson, Michael Carter, Gallup, ooh, suddenly interesting, Bateman, Dante Foreman, and DJ Moore.
And there's some tough choices. I want to say yes to 3 of those receivers as flexes. Bateman got more interesting now that Marquise Brown is out. Gallup is a lot more interesting with Cooper out. And then Moore, I mean, looking like he might be a good pick, of course, with Cam Newton there. So I feel like if flex has to be one of those receivers, of those, I think Gallup, just based on the matchup, right, with Kansas City, I kind of like his upside, although Bateman is tempting. But with Lamar Jackson being questionable, that's what kind of holds it out for me. So let's start with that, just because I'm thinking of those receivers. I don't know. I'm feeling Gallup as the flex.
Yeah, my worry with Gallup is, well, I mean, with Cooper out, he should get a solid target share. So against KC, healthy Dak, probably Gallup over Moore. I don't. Could I? See, I'm trying to think if it was my team. Could I really put Michael Gallup in over DJ Moore? Could I do that? I don't know. I mean, I know DJ Moore's been horrible lately, but that was with Sam Darnold. Now you got Cam Newton, and maybe Cam Newton will be terrible. Maybe we just had like this crazy, the defense wasn't ready for him, not ready for him. So, yeah, that one's close for me. Honestly, I would probably go Gallup and DJ Moore. Oh no, he needs a running back too. Ugh. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, the running back options aren't as great, but that's just how life is. So, well, okay, what about our running back options?
Gibson or Michael Carter?
And then I think you said Foreman, but we're not going to start Foreman over those
Yeah,
guys.
Foreman, but I don't think we're starting Foreman over either of those guys, right?
Yeah, we're done on Gibson this week. Am I down with him lower than Michael Carter? Honestly, I have them neck and neck. That Miami defense has looked better, and Carter's not getting a ton of consistent touches. That's the thing. Tevin Coleman back, and it doesn't really make a difference in fantasy, but it makes a difference with Carter's touches. He wasn't that good last week. He really hasn't been good running the ball all year, except for one game where he was okay running the ball. So you're just depending on either a touchdown or those catches. But with Gibson, you're just depending on the touchdowns because he's not getting catches. So I guess I would say Carter, but it's really close.
Yeah, I'd probably go Carter here in PPR just because he's going to get those dump offs. He also gets goal line work. It's not like he doesn't get goal line work.
Right.
They may not get near the goal line, but if they do, he gets goal line work. So I'd probably go Carter as well. And then Kyle Ellis, a trade question. And for me, this is a no-brainer. Trade Lamar for Devonta Smith in PPR if I already have Dak. I mean, I'm always for trading a QB in a 1 QB league for a good positional player. So for me, it's a no-brainer, yes.
Yeah, if it's a backup, well, I mean, I guess you could say Dak was your backup, but look, if your backup is almost as good as your starter, there's no need to hold on to that. There's not a very high likelihood that you will, be needing both quarterbacks throughout the fantasy playoffs, at least hopefully. So
yeah, not during the fantasy playoffs. So I hope not, unless one just has unless one plays the Bills, which I don't think either does, then you're probably not. Ju Zhao, apologies, I'm sure I terribly mispronounced that. Is Tony Jones worth a pickup? Or should I get a tight end like Freiermuth or Knox? If you already have Goddard and Hunter Henry, you definitely don't need to pick up another tight end. Yeah. So let's just say, is Tony Jones worth a pickup?
He would have been if Ingram wasn't there, but now Ingram's there. So look, probably Kamara comes back next week because his injury isn't, he's not on IR. If he was on IR, then he's missing 3 weeks. But the fact he's already missed 2 and he's not on IR, he's probably going to come back next week, maybe at the worst the week after that. So with Kamara and Ingram there, Tony Jones is probably not going to get any touches, and he wasn't touching the ball that much even before that. So look, I have Tony Jones in a dynasty league where I'm kind of having him stashed, but no, you can probably do better.
Yeah, I think you can do better too, especially like you said with Ingram there. And I don't even think Tony Jones has been activated off of IR yet. I don't think he was activated this week. So
he's still talking about it. I don't know if it's official. I think they were going to activate him just because Kamara is out, but he might not even play. So
yeah, but no, he's third now. So super chat from CP. Defense question: Miami or the Browns?
I think you got to go Miami. I mean, look, they're playing the Jets. Joe Flacco. I guess that's an upgrade over Mike White. I don't know. We'll see.
But is that worse than Tim Boyle?
Oh, well, that's true. Now that we know Goff is out. I don't know. My worry with that is that we're going to see DeAndre Swift carry the ball like 40 times, right? And they're just not going to pass it. And they don't pass that much anyways. So I just don't know if there's going to be as many turnovers in that game. I think like the Jets seem to be forcing the ball down the field. That's why they keep throwing interceptions, right? 4 interception games, because the Jets, they know they can't really run it. So they're trying to pass it. So I kind of feel like Miami has a little more upside, honestly.
I agree on that part. Miami has the upside. The Browns floor the Browns have to have the highest floor of any defense this week. The Lions with Jared Goff have not topped 17 points all season.
Yeah.
They might not even get 10 in this game. They might get 0. Honestly, they might get 0. Unless Swift like breaks off a run or something, that's really the only, or like Jamal Williams, who may be back, I'm not sure, or something like that happens. So, and not only that, the
kicker. They've had this is the 3rd different kicker they've had in 3 weeks. So like, they get a couple of field goals. They might not even get a field goal because that's how bad their team is.
And the Browns coming off that terrible defensive performance last week, they're going to be like just ready to go. Yeah. So yeah, I know Miami has tons of upside. I think they're both great plays. I don't think you can go wrong with either.
Well, here's the thing we always say with defense, because defensive scoring is not universal, right? A lot of leagues have different scoring systems. So I would say if you have a league where you get like a major bonus for a shutout or points against, like single digit points gives you several fantasy points. If that's a big advantage in terms of points scored, Cleveland is the better pick. Now, if you get more points for turnovers and the points against don't matter as much, then I'd go Miami. I think Miami got more turnovers, but Cleveland will hold Detroit to fewer points.
Yeah. And then another super chat from Andrew Carter. Should he trade DK Metcalf and get McLaurin and Michael Carter?
Man, it's tough to trade away DK Metcalf, especially now that Russ is just coming back. Before the season, I think we kind of had McLaurin and Metcalf pretty close ranking wise, right? We thought those guys are pretty close. Maybe Metcalf a slight step ahead, but McLaurin's been so up and down. I even said because we have him as a bust this week too, don't we? So McLaurin 3 times has been a top 5 receiver, top 5, and there are 5 times he hasn't been even a top 40 receiver. So it's really all or nothing with him. Metcalf has been a little more consistent. So I would say unless you need, do you need Michael Carter as your RB2 or flex play? Do you need him to start? If you need him, then I guess I would do that. But otherwise, I wouldn't.
No, this is the type of trade that I used to make in my home league before they told me I couldn't make any more trades. That would win me my league because I would trade 2 good players for 1 really good player or a stud. And you want the stud here. I mean, like you said, McLaurin without Fitzpatrick. That's why we had him close together, because he had Fitzpatrick. We only got Fitzpatrick for 1 pass. Look, if DK had Geno Smith, we would be right. We would be probably say take this trade if he had Geno Smith all year. So no, I would definitely not do this trade. And I missed. CP had a second question: McKissick or Jamal Agnew in the flex?
Oh, Jamal Agnew. Sorry. Every time I hear Jamal Agnew, it just makes me laugh because I think of how ridiculous the Jaguars offense is.
Jamal Agnew is relevant. That's sad.
Yeah. I mean, Agnew is sort of relevant because he has that big playability. We know that he's a return guy and he can break it off like he did a couple of weeks ago. I guess I would take the upside of Agnew.
Yeah, I think you have to go back Agnew. He's getting like a decent amount of targets. So McKissick, you just never know week to week. Is he going to get targets or not? So I agree. You got to go Agnew. All right, Dalton Gill. I have Hollywood Brown and Amari Cooper. That's unfortunate. Who do I start at wide receiver 2, Claypool or Devontae Smith?
We've heard a lot of things about Devontae Smith. So I'm up on him, but partly because we thought Goddard would be out. Now Goddard's not out. And New Orleans is sort of a funnel defense in the sense that they're the best against the run, like number 1, and they allow 6th most points to wide receivers. So there's an opportunity there. But then on a lot of people, what about Marshawn Lattimore? He's going to shut him down. I'm not too worried about that because he's not necessarily a shadow guy, but also even if he does shadow Devontae Smith, because why wouldn't he? It's not as if nobody's getting any big gains against him. I think Devontae Smith can still make a big play and he's still going to get enough targets that I would probably take the chance on Smith, but I don't know how you feel about that.
No, between those two, I would go. I don't like Smith this week very much because one thing, New Orleans are giving up points to wide receivers, but not on the outside. It's all like over the middle, short stuff. So, which Smith will catch some of that. But over Claypool, yes. Claypool coming off a toe injury with Big Ben who can't throw deep. Yeah, I would just take my chances with Smith and hope he gets, 4 or 5 catches because I don't think Claypool's going to do that. Patty McNeil, need 2 more players to fill my starting lineup. Dante Foreman, Waller, or Renfro. Well, to me, it's easily Waller or Renfro.
Yeah, I mean, Foreman is a sneaky star, but he's not a must start. And you can't sit Waller. You gotta like Waller.
Zarovis, totally said that wrong, I'm sure. Keenan or Williams this week? I assume he means Mike Williams. I gotta assume Mike Williams.
Picking between the Chargers, it's been all Keenan. I mean, you got to keep going with Keenan.
Yeah, Keenan is. If you look since week 4, the target share has completely flip flopped. It's all Keenan, very little Williams. So. All right, here we go. Battle of the handcuff, now starting running backs. Andrew Moses, Ingram, or Jeff Wilson?
I was hoping we would avoid Jeff Wilson until later in the show. Okay, so I'm kind of trying to kill some of the Jeff Wilson vibe that's out there. Everyone's just assuming he's going to go out there and run for 150 yards because he did a year ago, right? It's not that simple. That was a different kind of offense, and um, it's Jacksonville, so I get it. The temptation, Jacksonville, yes, they're terrible. I get that, but still, I just don't see Wilson getting 20 plus carries necessarily. I don't assume that he's going to average 4 or 5 yards a carry because he looked kind of sluggish last week, right? Didn't he get 10 carries for like 28 yards, I think it was. He's a guy who he's startable, but I'm not going to go crazy to force him over, a solid starting running back. So I don't know. Am I being a little too pessimistic about Wilson?
No, this is. I think people are too pessimistic about Ingram. This guy had tied for the team league with 7 targets last week in the 3 Trevor Siemian games. 3 Trevor Siemian starts. The running backs have had more than 20% of the targets in every single game. He's gonna catch a ton of passes. He's gonna get all the carries. Ty Montgomery, who's the only other like back you'd even be worried about, is also out. He's gonna get all the goal line work. Jeff Wilson's just gonna be a carry guy. He's not gonna catch any passes. Maybe he'll catch one. He might get 15 to 20. So this is easily Ingram. I have Ingram as a borderline top 12 running back this week. He's going to get 20 plus touches, and 5 or more of them are going to be carried, or going to be receptions. And he's going against the Eagles, who actually are worse run defense than the Jags. The Jags are a terrible defense, but they're way worse against the pass than they are against the run. They're like middle of the pack against the run. They're actually semi-decent against the run. And not only that, Deebo Samuel's probably going to get 10 carries in this game too.
Yeah, well, maybe in a crazy world that Trey Sermon actually sees the field. Like, what would happen if like my head would explode? That's what should happen, but I don't know if it will. But I think, yeah, Jeff Wilson's not going to get, I don't think, 20 plus carries, and I don't think that is going to make him valuable enough. Yeah, you could start him. Okay, not saying don't like must sit, but still, not over a solid locked in guy on an offense. Like Ingram is now.
Yeah. Oh boy, what is this question? Yeah. You want us to set your entire lineup? Sorry, we have too many apologies, but we have too many questions to try to set an entire lineup. So I'm going to skip that question. All right.
That's where you can jump in the Discord again, post a screenshot of your lineup. You got plenty of guys who can help you out, including us. So yeah, you can definitely do that.
Yeah. We got to get through too many questions to try to set an entire lineup here. We got a super chat from Big Moose. Cook, Dylan, Hill, CD, and Connor. Okay, so he's asking, should he go Cook, Dylan, Hill, CD, and Connor, or should he go Cook, Dylan, Hill, CD, and Diggs? So basically, should he go Connor or Diggs in the flex?
That's a good lineup. First of all, congrats. You got a good starting squad there. Diggs and Connor, I mean, both really good choices this week. I think it's got to be Diggs because as much as you like Connor, one thing about Seattle is their defense has been better lately. And Arizona, I mean, we know that there's a good chance Murray comes back, right? It's not for sure, but if Murray comes back, I do think that kills a little bit of Connor's value. So I would go Diggs, especially based on how he looked last week.
Yeah, and Indy's secondary is not very good. They can definitely be gotten through the air. So
yeah, Colts are a good defense, but they're allowing one of the highest points per game to wide receivers, and Rhodes has been banged up. So yeah, this should be a good matchup for Diggs.
Yeah. All right, Greg D'Amato, Cam Newton or Justin Herbert?
Look, I'm all aboard the Cam hype train again. I have him ranked probably way too high this week, but not above Herbert. And I mean, right, Herbert. I know people are worried. People are panicking about the Chargers' offense. You're not panicking about them, are you?
No, I'm not panicking. I think they'll be okay. I mean, look, people were panicking about the Chiefs' offense, and then they went out there and destroyed the Raiders. Good offenses go through bad stretches. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, one thing that Chargers, and this is what we worried, is that the offensive coordinator being new, Lombardi, he's conservative. He's not a guy who likes to stretch the field, and Herbert's better when he gets to stretch the field, which is why Mike Williams is all of a sudden, kind of flopping. But with Herbert, I think he'll be fine because one thing that I did discover this weekend, didn't realize Steelers have a lot of injuries on defense. We know, of course, Watt is out. To it when their other pass rushers out. I think Minka Fitzpatrick is going to miss this week. And there was somebody else. I mean, they have a ton of injuries on defense. It's a good defense, but they're definitely going to be vulnerable this week. So I feel good about Herbert, better than I did at least. And I do think Williams is in a little better spot. Still kind of sketchy about Mike Williams every week, but I feel a little bit better about him.
Yeah, no, definitely. I like Cam this week, but not more than Herbert. And I think this is a kicker question. Enlow, Sanders or Evan McPherson?
I love that you don't know if they are kickers because
I don't know who Evan McPherson is, and I think I've heard his name as a kicker. When I saw Sanders, I just assumed Miles Sanders, and I was like, wait, but who's Evan McPherson? So I'm like, oh, maybe it's the Miami kicker, and I think isn't he the Bengals kicker? Am I right?
That's right. There you go.
All right. So I'm getting better at these kickers.
We'll refer to them by their actual names in fantasy. So Bengals kicker, I have really high this week over Dolphins kicker because even the Dolphins kicker is going against the Jets, that they're probably not going to need to kick a lot of field goals. I actually think that's going to be a low scoring game. A lot of people say, oh, this is a bad defense. That's a bad defense. That this is going to be a high scoring game. I think it's going to be the opposite. I think both these teams are just bad enough that they won't need to put up a lot of points on each other. But anyways, I think that the Raiders Bengals game is going to be high scoring. And so I like Bengals kicker.
There you go. And then Tyler Foley again with a super chat. Thank you. This is an interesting question. Who is now the Patriots running back one?
It's still Harris. Here's the thing you have to realize. He's testing my loyalty. I know that's what it is. Like Stevenson's been good. You can't deny it. He's looked really good. And it seems like with the offensive line and the scheme is good enough that you can probably put anybody back there and they'll average 5 yards a carry, not taking anything away from the GOAT, Damien Harris. But the thing with Harris is he had missed last week. He also was barely activated right before the game, like the day before, I think. And he was estimated to have missed Monday because it was a Thursday game. So he didn't get really a lot of practice in. So they put him out there, but I think that's why he wasn't a full go. And Stevenson has been looking good, so they wanted to give him some run, and he looked good. So I still think it's Harris, but it's more now like a 1A, 1B situation. But Harris is still kind of the lead guy, and I think he's still going to get the goal line work for the most part.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's still Harris. They alternated series, which was weird, but I do think maybe that was because Harris did miss all week of practice, or maybe they just started to like Stevenson. So Stevenson definitely a guy. That you got to be on every roster right now for sure.
Yeah.
But I do think it will be Harris. Hopefully it's not what we saw last week and they just alternate series because that would be frustrating for everybody.
I don't think so. Also, you have to realize because the Patriots, the Falcons didn't score, so the Patriots could afford to keep Stevenson out there and they didn't have to rely. I think if it's a more closely contested game, I think you see more Harris because you've seen in blowouts where they pull him in the fourth quarter, and then that's when Stevenson gets work. So I think if the game was closer, you probably wouldn't have seen as much Stevenson.
All right, Carlos Aguilar, Josh Jacobs or T. Higgins for his flex?
Easy T. Higgins. Jacobs has just not done much lately. Kenyon Drake has been more valuable. Jacobs is kind of doing what we expected him to look like this season, right? He's just kind of a plotter, not getting enough volume to get by.
I agree. Oh, boy, neither. Sammy Watkins or Kadarius Toney half PPR. Is Sammy Watkins even playing?
Who knows?
Take the zero. Just take the zeros. That way you don't have that pain of seeing the zero for somebody you start. At least going in, you get the zero. Just take the zero.
Look, you might be better off picking up MVS if he's available. And because he could hit on one big play just like those others. Like, what are you getting from Sammy Watkins? Not much. Because actually Lazard, am I right? Lazard, I think, is doubtful.
That's true. I didn't put him on. Yes.
Against the Vikings, I might rather just do that.
Me too. Don't want to start either of those guys. Vendel Oliviere, apologies, I'm sure I messed that up. Carter or Wilson in half PPR?
In half PPR, it's closer, but I still give the slight edge to Carter.
See, this is where I'd probably go Wilson. just because of half PPR, because I feel like he has a better chance to score a touchdown, because I feel better that the 49ers will actually get near the goal line more often than the Jets will. And the pass catching of Carter takes a hit in the half PPR, right? So even if he catches 5 or 6 passes, instead of that being 5 or 6 points, which is hard for Wilson to overcome, it's only 2.5, 3 points. I think Wilson can overcome that. So I think I give Wilson the slight edge in half PPR.
It's close.
Yeah, it's definitely close though. Neil Fields, Myles Gaskin, or Jeff Wilson, full PPR.
Go with your boy Myles Gaskin. You have him as a must start, and we're gonna roll with him. I mean, it's the Jets. That run defense is literally the worst in the league.
Yes, I think you said a couple weeks ago that the Jets defense is like magic for running backs. Like, don't question it, just trust it. And with it being PPR, Myles Gaskin is going to get 3, 4, maybe 5 catches in this matchup. So that definitely helps, and definitely has a chance to score a touchdown. He has just as much chance to score a touchdown this week as Jeff Wilson. So definitely Myles Gaskin between those two. JP, hey fellas, need one wide receiver. Kadarius, why are people still asking about Kadarius Toney? He had one huge game in a random week where no other wide receiver was even on the field, and now all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh, Kadarius Toney!" Like, just drop him. Jamal Agnew or Brandon Ayuk?
Brandon Ayuk, easy, because Jacksonville, spoiler alert, also terrible against the pass. They're
not terrible against the pass.
Terrible.
No. They're horrendous against pass. They are awful against the pass.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They're way worse against the pass than they are against the run. That's why I'm not like, people are going to see Jeff Wilson and beat Jacksonville and think like, oh yeah, you got to start him against Jacksonville. They're actually okay against the run. They cannot stop the pass at all. So yes, I agree. Brandon Ayuk out of that group for sure. Please stop asking about Kadarius Toney. Stop it. All right. Corrupt S550. Amari Cooper is out. Unfortunately, yes, he is. No, this is a different. Okay, and Marquise Brown is out. Wow, you also have those two. Should I start Devonta Smith or pick up Watkins? No, start Devonta Smith.
Don't pick up Watkins just ever.
Big Lenny, a.k.a. Austin, a.k.a. Clapping Cheeks. Saquon questionable for next year. I hate you. All right, Arion. Should I trade Melvin Gordon for Miles Sanders? There's an interesting trade.
Trade who for Miles Sanders?
Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Gordon, but why? Like, Melvin Gordon has been solid. I mean, he's not going to get you anything this week because he can't. But Melvin Gordon is he still might outscore Miles Sanders, because I don't know that Miles Sanders is going to do anything. He'll try to dance around and lose a couple of yards. And no, I'm still against the Sanders. Look, when did the Eagles finally commit to run, and were they able to run when Miles Sanders wasn't active? They don't want Miles Sanders in that offense to be a thing. He might play. Yes, he always has the potential to break off a big run, but he didn't even do that before he was injured. So no, Gordon has been solid. I mean, there's no reason to trade away Gordon.
Yeah, I agree. I do wonder if now that Miles Sanders is back, does Jalen Hurts throw the ball 40 times again? I'm kind of hoping.
That would be nice.
All right, meet the woo. Edwards Hilaire, Daryl, I assume Daryl Williams, Alex Collins. Who does he start?
Well, I mean, I guess to save yourself the headache of starting the wrong guy, you can just go with Collins. The whole thing with Collins is he is what he is. He's going to get you like 40, 50 yards. He isn't breaking off big plays. He did one game, right? One game, I think he looked good. And that was the second half of the Pittsburgh game, because I think Pittsburgh just was surprised that they actually went back to run the ball, because they completely shut him down the first half. And then Pittsburgh, they were winning, and they thought that, Seattle would abandon the run, and they didn't. So they were caught off guard. So my point is, Alex Collins is not really fancy relevant. So I would rather just start Dell Williams and hope that he scores a touchdown. And I think he'll be involved. But this is where we were talking about earlier, right? Like, who's going to be more involved this week? I think it's still Williams over CEH. I don't think they're going to put him, back to his previous role necessarily.
I don't know, because people said that about David Montgomery. They were like, oh, the bye is next week. And then David Montgomery went out there and got every touch. And they've said, look, CEH started practicing last week, so it was like he just started practicing this week. I mean, I get it. Alex Collins, you're right. Alex Collins is just a purely touchdown dependent. You hope he falls in the end zone because, he's only going to get you like 40, 50, 60 yards. Maybe he'll catch one pass if you're lucky. So, I mean, if it was my team, I probably would go Darrell Williams. Actually, honestly, if it was my team, I would probably go CEH because I do feel like he's going to start. I do feel like that's just what NFL teams do. They activate him. They feel like he's ready. He's going to play his usual role. I'm just saying that's what I would do. I'm not saying it's going to be right because I don't feel great about any of these guys this week. I'd rather not have to play any of these guys. That's what I would do. I do feel like we're going to see CEH as the starter in his mostly usual role, just like we saw with David Montgomery when he got activated off IR. Literally got activated off IR the day before. Same situation, right? Got activated off IR the last minute he possibly could, and then went out there and got all the touches. So I think that's what CH isn't a guy that gets all the touches anyways. Darrell Williams was mixed in decently even before the injury. That's my gut. But again, I don't feel great about any of these guys. So if you want to start Darrell Williams, I'm not going to argue with that. If you want to start Alex Collins, I'm not even going to argue with that. It's like at least Alex Collins, is going to get the bulk of the touches. And this should be much better. They should be a much better offense this week than they were last week. So I wouldn't argue against any of these guys, honestly. Like, pick your poison, basically. All right, Mizane Vlogs. I can start 2. Lockett, Cooks, Brandon Cooks, I assume. Josh Jacobs. Well, for me, not Josh Jacobs, but let's hear what you have to say.
Yeah, definitely. I like Lockett. Should be in a good position. He got a ton of air yards, didn't get many completed, but he got a lot of opportunity with Russ, and that's what we knew would happen. He loves chucking it deep to Lockett. So you always have that upside, even though it's not a great matchup. And then Cooks, I really like Cooks for sure this week. So
yes. All right, Chandler Russell. I have Taylor, Chubb, Fournette, Dillon, and Ingram. Which 3 do I start? Well, Taylor and Chubb are musts. Especially Chubb.
Taylor's a no-brainer.
And Chubb this week against Detroit.
Yeah.
No-brainer for me this week.
So we're picking one between Dillon, Ingram,
and Fournette.
I go Fournette. It's a great matchup for him, and he should get back to running the ball more effectively. And we've seen he's a guy also on third downs and, pass catching. He got 7 receptions last week. I mean, he's kind of the do-it-all back. I know everyone's crazy about Dillon, but is Dillon going to outscore Fournette this week? I don't think so.
Oh, wait, did you pick Ingram?
No, I picked Fournette.
Oh, I would go Dillon. I think Dillon's Fournette catches a lot of passes.
It's close. I mean,
I like Dillon.
Don't get me wrong. It's close. They're both, for me, top 12 running backs. I have Fournette, I think, number 10 this week, and I think I have Dillon like number 12.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, if you start Dillon, that's fine. I mean, that's It's close. I'm not saying that it's for sure, but I like Fournette this week.
I like Fournette this week too, for sure. All right, Gabriel Birchner. Need your advice. Would you start Jeff Wilson over Gibson? Now it's getting interesting.
I would. I mean, both those guys really, you're counting on touchdowns for the most part. And, we saw Gibson was not good last week, and it's not a good matchup this week. Carolina's got a good defense. So Wilson has a very good matchup. And neither guy is going to really catch many passes. So you take that out of the equation, right? Where Michael Carter is going to catch some passes and gets the goal line work. Well, both these guys will get goal line work, but Wilson has a better chance to score.
And then would you start Bateman over either Devonta Smith or Jalen Waddle?
Not Waddle.
Definitely not Waddle.
Yeah, I could see starting him over Smith. We talked about the concerns with Smith, and I mean, he could. With Smith, you're taking a chance, right? He's kind of boom or bust, and I think he does have a chance to hit on a big play, but there's also a chance he gets shut out. I feel like that's what's going to happen with Smith. It's going to be either a really good game or not at all. So Bateman with Well, here's the thing though, with Marquise Brown out, you like that, but if Lamar Jackson doesn't play, then no, it's not Bateman.
Yeah, if Lamar Jackson plays, I would start Bateman over Smith for sure. Not Waddle though. If Lamar Jackson sits, then definitely not. Definitely not. All right, Larry Scudiero. Apologies if I mispronounced that. Needs 2 between Bateman, Renfro, Tyler Boyd. I think this is our first Tyler Boyd question in like 5 weeks. Marcus Johnson, who suddenly every week there's random new fantasy relevant players.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so who you got?
Okay, so the Bateman thing is what we just said, right? I would like Bateman the best, but if Lamar doesn't play, then you pull the plug on him. Look, I picked up Marcus Johnson in about 2 or 3 leagues. Again, not necessarily because I think he's the next coming of anything, but just because I needed somebody, with all the Rams receivers on bye. So I kind of like Marcus Johnson.
More than Renfro, though?
Not more than Renfro. Renfro's the number 1 pick there, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And then it comes down to, does Lamar play or not?
Right. Yeah. So Bateman would be the number 2 pick there. If not, who's the 3rd pick?
Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, I don't think. I think I'd rather take a chance on Marcus Johnson than Tyler Boyd. I mean, and the thing was with Johnson, I know he can get carried away and chasing points from last week, but the thing is, Julio Jones on IR. They need somebody to take over that number 2 role. It's not Westbrook Akine, right? He's a guy that they're just not really that into. And it's not Chester Rogers. So I think they might be trying to get him more involved and see if he can become that number 2 guy. So that's why I like. And Johnson, he's a field stretcher. That's what you have to like. He gets big chunks of yards. So if he has a big game, he has a big game, right? So it's definitely run for 1, Bateman 2, but if Lamar doesn't play, then it would be Johnson 2.
Yep, I agree. Zen, what's up? Traded Darrell Williams and Brandon Ayuk for AB and Miles Sanders. Did I win?
If you added Miles Sanders to your team, it's it's not going to be a win for me. Well, especially because like if AB was playing this week, then maybe it's a win, but he's not, and maybe he misses another week. I mean, what's the realistic time frame for AB to come back?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't think we know the realistic time frame for AB to come back, because I hearing conflicting reports like he's still weeks away. Then I'm hearing like, oh, he's close. So yeah.
If he comes back next week, and I get like Darrell Williams, maybe he loses his job. He doesn't have any relevance now that CEH is back. So swapping him for Sanders might be fine. Might be an even swap. So it just depends on how soon, if you don't get AB for a couple more weeks, then no, that's not a win. But if he comes back next week, then I think that's fine.
All right. Wilman Romero. I think he's saying Mooney, or I don't know if that's a question. He might be answering a question. Okay, Frank Williams. Darrell Williams or Kenny Galladay, full PPR?
I'm not starting Kenny Galladay. I'd rather hope that Williams gets a touchdown, and I'm not starting any Giants receiver until Sterling Shepard comes back.
I did have Kenny Galladay as a sneaky start. It is a good matchup, and no Sterling Shepard, but
yeah, that's just me. I can't stomach putting a Giants receiver in my lineup. I can't.
I mean, I was pretty anti Galladay all off season, so
more than me.
Yeah. I don't know. I hate it.
Well, I think you'd say if you don't think Williams is going to be the starter and not going to get most of the touches, then yeah, you would go Galladay.
Yeah. If it was my team, I probably would go Galladay. I mean, I don't have Kenny Galladay on any teams because I didn't draft him, but if it was my team or somebody said, here, take over my team, I'd probably go Kenny Galladay and just hope catches 5 or 6 passes or 7 passes. Tyler Foley, super chat, trade Metcalf for Devontae Adams. Yes.
Yeah, you want Devontae Adams, for sure.
Let's see. Roman Salas, Ingram, or McKissick. I mean, I think we both easily have Ingram.
Definitely Ingram. Because it could see an uptick in touches because they don't have a tight end. And we're kind of expecting Carolina to be ahead in this game. So McKissick could be involved, but still the ceiling isn't super high for him.
Yeah. Wahab Ali. Do I start Terry McLaurin, Mike Williams, or Michael Gallup? 10-team PPR.
Ooh, now it gets interesting. How high are we in Gallup? Definitely higher now without Cooper, and obviously it's a good spot for him against the Chiefs. Do I start him over McLaurin in a bad matchup? That's the thing. Who you trust opportunity and talent versus matchup? I we only have to pick one of those three. Is that what it is?
I assume so. Yes.
I moved McLaurin down quite a bit. We talked about this early in the week, right? We're both way down. We got McLaurin as a bust. I moved him quite a bit down. I think I would probably put Williams the top of those three because what we talked about with the Steelers defense being vulnerable. I think the Chargers will be okay. So I might take a chance, honestly, on Williams.
Ooh.
But it's tough because I could see all three of those guys potentially flopping. I think Gallup has the highest upside, to be honest. I kind of feel in a weird way, this sounds really weird, but I think Williams might kind of be the safest of those.
Calling Mike Williams safe? When's the last time Mike Williams even had more than like 8 points?
I know, but McLaurin's not safe either. Mentioned McLaurin has had so many bust games. Gallup, you never know what you're going to get with him. Gallup, I could see being the highest score of those guys, but he might not even get enough targets. I think Williams gets the most targets. How about that?
Oh man, this is a really tough one. It's hard for me to, but McLaurin's been so bad so many weeks, and so is Mike. I might just go Gallup. I might just take the upside of Gallup in this great matchup.
It feels odd and discomforting to say that McLaurin is the last of those picks for me. So if you want to roll a dice and shoot for the big game, it would be Gallup. Williams, I think, is a little safer, like I said, but yeah.
All right, Miles Davis. Tight end question. Standard scoring: Hawkinson, Conklin, or Kmet?
Not Conklin of those guys. Either you hope that Kmet has a big game like we talked about, or you just assume Hawkinson will get targeted. But man, with Goff out, like Hawkinson was already not doing much as it is. I would take a chance on Kmet.
Yeah, I like Kmet too. I think, Conklin had 2 touchdowns last week, but that's not normal.
Yeah.
I like Kmet's chances in this matchup for sure. And Baltimore's defense is ravaged. Actually, both these defenses are pretty ravaged. So, Brandon, I don't know if that's an I or an L, McIvor or McCliver. I'm not sure. Apologies. Tannehill and Ingram for Russell. So should he trade? Tannehill and Ingram for Russell Wilson and Kenyon Drake? I would do that, yes.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. Ingram, you're maxing out his value because Kamara should be back, if not next week, the week after. And you're definitely getting an upgrade with Russell Wilson.
All right, so I said before we came on, I thought we were going to get a lot of Saquon questions. We haven't gotten any Saquon questions. So we're getting a ton of Gallup and Bateman questions. I was wrong on that. Randy Chuan, start Gallup, Waddle, or Bateman in full PPR?
Ooh, it's just one of those guys. I mean, Waddle is you'd think the safer pick because again, going against the Jets, it can the other receivers are all still hurt. So Waddle is the safe pick. Gallup is that really high upside pick. I'd probably stick with Waddle though in this case because you feel pretty solid about him.
Yeah, the Jets have been good against wide receivers, but I don't think they've been good against wide receivers out of the slot like Waddle.
And not lately. They're starting to slip a little bit.
True. Yeah, I think I feel best about Waddle, especially in full PPR. It gives you a nice high floor.
Yeah. Now, if this was standard non-PPR, then I would say Gallup for sure. Yeah. But
all right, Sun AAA with the super chat. Thank you. Needs one flex between Claypool or Sanders. I assume Miles Sanders. Maybe Emmanuel Sanders, but I'm not sure.
If it's Miles Sanders, that's an easy no. If it's Emmanuel Sanders, I was kind of high on Emmanuel Sanders, but looking at the matchup this week, it doesn't really favor him too much. So Claypool, is that what we're talking about? Claypool?
Yeah.
I guess Claypool.
And then, I agree. And then Needs one tight end in it's half PPR. I missed that, so I don't know if that changed anything.
No.
And then needs one tight end between Hawkinson or Goddard.
Really not a good spot for either one.
I actually like Goddard against New Orleans because, again, they do a good job on those outside deep receivers. I think it's going to be like Jalen Hurts, going to be a lot of like short throws, quick throws. I kind of like Goddard.
It could be. Saints right now, 5th fewest fantasy points to tight ends. They have been kind of tough on the tight ends in general. He didn't practice all week. That's what kind of worries me. But does that worry me more than Tim Boyle?
Yeah, that's the thing. He's got Jalen Hurts throwing it to him, not Tim Boyle.
Yeah. So because of that, I would go Goddard.
I have Hawkinson in one league where I co-manage my friend, and if Dallas Goddard was available, I would 100% pick up Dallas Goddard and play him right now. But we're stuck with Hawkinson, so we'll see what happens. Where are we here? Oh, Snazzy Puma, Gaskin, or Foreman. I mean, that's pretty easily Gaskin for me.
Got to be Gaskin.
Mike Wood, Kadarius Toney, or Michael. Why do you guys like Kadarius? Please, somebody type in the chat why you all like Kadarius Toney so much. What is it about Kadarius Toney that you love Kadarius Toney so much? Please type that in the chat. I want to know. But Kadarius Toney or Michael Gallup?
That's the easiest of the Toney questions we've had so far. I get it if you were asking, Toney or like Sammy Watkins, but yeah, it's definitely Gallup. Yeah, I mean, please, look, he's a rookie, right? Everyone loves rookies, and he had that one big game, so he can do it again. He probably won't ever do that again.
Yeah, somebody
like said,
chat.
Shepard was out, Slayton was out, Ingram was out. They literally had nobody else to throw to that game except for Kadarius Toney, and they had to throw it because they were losing. So, yeah.
Let's see. We did that one. All right, here's an interesting one. Kevin Stone, Thielen or Gallup? Man, we've gotten a lot of Gallup questions. Thielen or Gallup?
Yeah, no, and I get there's a lot of question marks with Gallup because he hadn't played most of the season, and with Cooper out, you wonder, well, is this going to be the fool's gold, or no? I think Gallup gets enough targets, and of course, he's got the opportunity. It's not guaranteed to go off, but I would chase the upside with Gallup because at least you have that potential. Thielen is kind of touchdown or bust lately, and we know Green Bay's defense has been really good. So in this case, I'm going Gallup.
I agree. Thielen is completely touchdown dependent at this point, so. And Green Bay has been really good against Waters. Like, Green Bay's defense is legit. All right, here we go. Dranoil, Raphael, McLaurin, or DJ Moore in standard scoring?
Oh, in standard scoring? That kind of brings it closer. Because in PPR, I'd say it's for sure it's Moore. I'd probably still go Moore. And Moore's got a great matchup too, because Washington, right on the other side, still one of the worst against wide receivers. So yeah, go with Moore.
Yeah, standard. I got to go with Moore. And here's Tony has a ton of upside. Tony seems to be a freak athletically. Tony is gifted. He aces the eye test. Tony can drop a 30 burger any week. Did he even get 30 points that week? I'm not sure. He might have. Okay, sure, but he hasn't done it other than 1 week when literally no other wide receivers. Even when Sterling Shepard has been out, he's getting like 2 or 3 targets. He doesn't have upside. He doesn't. And now Kenny Galladay's back. He doesn't have upside. He has nothing. He has no floor, no upside. Anyways, Billy Joel. Wait, Billy Joel? Piano Man Billy Joel? He's probably heard that joke. I apologize, Billy Joel. You probably heard that joke a lot and probably hate me now. Super chat, thank you. PPR Lockett or Bateman?
Yeah, didn't we have Miles Davis earlier? Is that what you said? And now Billy Joel.
Yes.
It's like,
I don't know if he's still alive though. I don't think anybody in this chat even knows who Miles Davis is.
Miles Davis is the GOAT. Okay.
Well, I don't know who Billy Joel is either, honestly. So,
what was the question again?
This has gone off the rails. PPR Lockett or Bateman?
At Lockett. Even with everything Lamar plays, whatever, I still Lockett. I mean, Russ is going to target him a ton. He always has that upside.
Yes. Roman Salas, AJ Green, or Robbie Anderson?
I cannot have interest in AJ Green. It's got to be Robbie Anderson. I mean, both guys could put up a 0, but at least Robbie Anderson, I think he is a better matchup.
All right, here's the most 2021 question ever. Needs a running back in PPR, not that it matters. AP or Alex Collins?
Yeah, most
Uh,
2021, or this could also be 2017. Alex Collins, look, AP is getting phased out. He's not going to catch any passes. Not that Collins catches much, but at least he's the starting running back now.
yeah, I agree. Okay, we've had Miles Davis, Billy Joel, and now we got Dan Marino dropping the super chat.
Yes.
I did not. We are becoming famous. Oh my goodness. Okay. I didn't know Dan Marino played fantasy, but I guess everybody plays fantasy these days, right? Bateman, T. Higgins, Hunter Renfro has to bench one.
Bench one. I think Renfro is almost the guy you have to keep locked in there just based on how he's doing. And I do like Higgins' opportunity. He's getting a ton of targets. I know he's been a little bit up and down, but he's averaging, I think, 7 targets a game. And I do think this game will be a more high scoring. So in this case, I probably bench Bateman.
Yes, I agree. I bench Bateman. I like Higgins, ton of upside this week. I think Renfro's got to be in your lineup. Another super chat, Lucas Arms, standard scoring, Devonta Freeman, Emmanuel Sanders, or Edwards-Helaire.
One thing I don't remember if we mentioned at the top of the show, Latavius Murray is back, but he's questionable. Now, if he plays, like he's been the starter, so is he going to cut into Freeman's starting job? That's the thing. People think, he's going to come back and be the starter for whatever that matters. So it's hard to gauge Freeman. And again, if Lamar being questionable, I'm kind of backing off of Freeman big time. So I would say, yeah, not Freeman for me. So who else we got?
Emmanuel Sanders or CEH?
Take a chance on CEH, I think.
Hmm.
I was big on Sanders early this week, and then looking at the defense, the way that the Colts run, I know they give up a lot of points, but I think what they're going to try to do is limit the deep ball. I think this is going to be more like a Cole Beasley kind of game and a Diggs game more so than a Sanders game. Sanders has been really down lately. I think teams are trying to figure out how to take that away from Buffalo. So that's my thinking there.
I mean, I'm okay with either one. If CEH is a starter, then definitely in standard, I would prefer him. So here's a question that's going to be tough for you. Maybe not. Snake Eyes 11123, Russell Wilson or Tua this week?
Trying to not let my fandom carry me away with Tua. I had him like as a top 10 quarterback at the beginning of the week. As a Jets, no. It's bad defense, but again, I don't know that this is going to be a super high scoring game. Usually the teams that roll up big points against the bad defenses are the really good teams. And I don't think the Dolphins offense can count as being really good. So I would still go with Russ, as bad as he looked last week. I think he'll be okay this week.
Yeah, I got to go Russ. And then real quick, Brian Fiani. Sorry, I know I butchered that. You super chatted, but I don't see a question from you. So if you want to type your question, I'll get to it as soon as I see it here. So let's move on then. Okay, Midnight 201 needs 2. Standard scoring again. Gaskin, Jeff Wilson, Devonta Smith needs 2 of those.
Safer to go with the running backs, I would say. Smith is going to be boom or bust with him. So probably Gaskin and Wilson.
Yeah, I think you got to go with the 2 running backs in standard. All right, let's go here.
By the way, guys, it's a good chance for me to mention, and we do appreciate, of course, the super chats, but consider joining our Patreon. There's information below if you want to check that out. And then also, we're getting almost close to that time where we're going to start the lightning round because we have a lot of questions to go through, and we do want to try to get to as many as possible. So line up your questions if you can. Again, if you don't feel like you got a chance to ask us, or you want just more time, or you just want to support us, even if you don't join us Sunday morning, the Patreon is definitely a way to go. But let's do a couple more, and then we'll start with the lightning round.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of the same questions with the same guy, so I'm passing over those. A lot of Gallup, Bateman questions. We've talked about those guys a lot. You guys should pretty much have an idea where we stand on them. Here's one. Louis David Navarrete. Should I start Marvin Jones or Sammy Watkins? Yikes.
The answer again is neither, but if you have to choose, I mean, maybe you can't get waivers in time or whatever. If you have to pick one of those, I think it's Marvin Jones, even though he's done nothing the last 4 games. At least he's got a shot for a touchdown. Sammy Watkins, just can't.
Yeah, I can't start Sammy Watkins. See, there's a lot of things in here, guys, where it's like I have to. It's tough because you guys ask the same question like 10 times. Right? So I'm trying to find the questions, sift through to find the actual questions. Psycho Scout, Dawson Knox, Tyler Conklin, or Gronk?
Now that's an interesting one. Okay, so Gronk, we haven't heard a lot about, but he's been practicing, and I guess we should say he's in, right? He is playing for sure.
I'm pretty sure I haven't heard anything to the contrary, so yes.
Okay, so trying to look for some info on him. I think if Gronk plays, I think he's I see him listed as questionable.
Yeah, but I haven't heard anything like, ooh, it's going to be a game time decision or anything like that. So I think he's good to go.
Yeah, and he was a full participant in practice on Thursday. So I know there's risk because of what happened last time, right? He played and then he left. Obviously, there's risk there. I think I'd go with Gronk though. Conklin is not a great spot for him. Knox again, I know people are all excited about what he did early in the season, but a lot of his production was just touchdowns, and I think he's still kind of risky. So I'd go with Gronk.
Yeah, especially with AB out, I like Gronk, and I don't think the Bucks would make that mistake twice. Like Arian said last time, like, yeah, he probably shouldn't have played. I don't think they're going to do that with Gronk again. They have an eye towards the postseason, not towards week 11. So I feel good about him if he plays. Super chat from James Johnson, the second PPR league. For the flex, should I put Higgins, Williams, Gallup, or Christian Kirk?
One of those guys.
Mike Williams, by the way. So Higgins, Mike Williams, Gallup, or Christian Kirk?
Not Kirk for me. I kind of said earlier, I don't like Kirk, or not earlier today, but earlier in the week. There's some tough choices because Higgins is a guy who you think would be the most solid pick. He's going to get a few receptions. It's on paper, it's really not a good matchup because the Raiders defense in the secondary especially has been good, but they got exposed quite a bit last week. So I still think Higgins is a solid start. Mike Williams is boomer bust. And again, I do feel like he's okay this week. But still, I mean, there's a lot of risk with these guys. There was one more choice. Who was it? It was Williams. Oh, Gallup.
Yeah, Gallup.
Yeah, these guys are kind of in that same range for me, right? So I think if you want to play it safe, you go with Higgins, but I think Gallup is almost a guy you at least have to try rolling out, right, to see what happens.
Yeah, but I think out of that group, I would just go with Higgins. He's got a decent floor, and I do actually like in this matchup. I think the way that Raiders defense is will give him some chances. So, Ray Suarez, another super chat. Would you keep Pittman or Judy? Pittman, definitely.
Pittman.
If you could only pick between those two, definitely Pittman. Right?
Yeah, Pittman. I agree.
Like, yeah, he's gonna have a tough go of it this week, but then after that, he's every week must start. Super chat from Rock Out. 2 flexes: Michael Carter, Christian Kirk, Bateman, or Jeff Wilson. Full PPR.
Full PPR. See, to me, that dings Wilson because you have a solid choices. Like to say Bateman. If Lamar Jackson's a full go, then I guess I'll go Bateman.
Yeah, he needs 2.
My dogs agree.
He needs 2.
So I'm trying to kill the noise of the dogs. Okay, so we got Bateman, Wilson. Who else?
Michael Carter, Christian Kirk.
Yeah, I don't like Kirk this week, honestly. I go with the first 2. I go Carter.
Carter and Bateman. If Lamar plays, if Lamar doesn't play, I probably would go Wilson.
Yeah.
All right, should we get to lightning round? See how many of these we can get through here real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so this should be an easy one to start us off. Gesicki or Hawkinson?
Gesicki.
Yeah, definitely. Again, guys, I'm going to look for ones. Oh, Adrian Peterson or Ty Johnson, full PPR?
No, thank you. Oh, we have to pick one. Ty Johnson.
Yeah, Ty Johnson's actually. If you guys watch the sneaky starts video, he's had 11 or more PPR points in 4 of the last 5, and even in the other game, he had still had 8. I think we did these. So again, I'm trying to find questions we haven't done yet. Okay, David Montgomery, Jeff Wilson, Gaskin, or Foreman. Pick 2.
I like Montgomery this week. I would go with him and then Gaskin.
I agree. I'm right there with you. Again, guys, looking for questions. We haven't talked about many of the players. Let's see. Man, I got there's a lot of comments without questions here. Gallup, Ingram, Bateman, Claypool. Well, I mean, we've done these questions like 10 times, I feel like. Cam over Russell Wilson. That's a no for me. How about you?
Yeah, I'd still go Russell Wilson.
Knox or Dan Arnold?
Standard or PPR?
Doesn't say.
It's a standard lead Knox. It's a PPR Arnold.
Yeah, Arnold at least has like a nice floor. Knox needs touchdowns to do anything. Let's see. All right, defense question. Washington, Chargers, Cowboys, Eagles, Packers, or Raiders?
There's a lot of choices. Okay, let's see. I'm not going with Washington. Sorry.
No.
Cowboys? No, there's no way you can go Cowboys. Cowboys against the Chiefs?
Wow.
Raiders, maybe. Chargers, probably out of that group.
Yeah, I think I would lean Chargers too. Joey Bosa is going to play. I know there's some worry about the COVID thing, but he's going to play. And Big Ben will take some sacks and throw some INTs. Beasley or Robbie Anderson?
Don't like it, but Beasley.
Hurts, Herbert, or Tua?
See, your boy, my boy. No, go with Herbert.
I got to still go with Jalen Hurts. I know it's a tough matchup, but Freiermuth or Knox?
Not as interested in Freiermuth. Last week should have been the week. It wasn't the week, and then he fumbled, and then now Claypool's back, so Knox.
Yeah, I agree, Knox. And then Kadarius Toney, full PPR, tight end, premium, flex, alien bonus league. Very funny, very funny.
Is that Austin again?
No, that was not. That was Aldo Gaviria. I don't know what that is. I think we might have done this one, but Gaskin or Wilson Jr. PPR. I think we did that one.
If it's PPR, it's Gaskin.
Yeah, definitely Gaskin. Moss or Devonta Freeman standard league. They're not talking.
I mean, maybe you could see a path to Freeman if Murray doesn't play at all and Lamar doesn't play. I'd say, I guess, if both of those guys don't play for Baltimore, then go Freeman, but I don't think that's going to happen. So in that case, I go Moss.
Yeah, I think my chances of Moss. Yeah, we did. I didn't. Okay. Thank you, Ronald. I didn't see Brian's question. I know I mentioned his. So he asked. Okay, sorry, super chat. He didn't put the question in there, but thank you, Ronald, for notifying me. I missed his question. So he's asking AJ Green, Jamal Agnew, or Deontay Harris for the flex.
I was all over Deontay Harris last week and did okay. He did okay. This week isn't quite as good. It just depends. I mean, who do you think Slay is going to mostly cover? Is it going to be Callaway? Is it going to be Harris? I think it's probably going to be Callaway or Smith on the outside. So I think Harris is okay. I think Harris is still probably the guy to start.
Yeah, I think out of those guys, I go Deontay Harris. He's been getting a decent target share recently. All right, sit 1 in half PPR. Swift, AJ Dillon, Montgomery, or Jeff Wilson?
You're picking one of those?
No, you're sitting 1.
Oh, sitting 1. You got to start Swift, which is weird to say, but I mean, I really think he could get, again, 30 plus carries. I like Montgomery this week. I don't think I would sit him. So that leaves it between Wilson and
AJ Dillon.
Dylan, I can't sit Dylan. So yeah, I mean, of those choices, yeah, you got to sit Wilson.
Yeah, I agree. You got to sit Wilson. Gallup or Beasley. I think we're both easily Gallup.
Yeah.
Rank Ingram, Gaskin, Wilson Jr. I would have it in that order.
Yeah, Ingram first, then Gaskin, then Wilson.
Let's see, Ingram, flex Ingram, Jacobs, Darrell Williams, or T. Higgins.
That's one.
Yeah, I guess.
Ingram.
Yeah, I like Ingram. He's gonna get 5+ catches, so and a chance to score a touchdown. Arnold or Dalton Schultz?
Schultz is interesting. He's been down lately, but with Cooper out, going against the Chiefs, of course. Probably. Yeah, you know what? I'll take a chance on Schultz this week. See if he does something.
Yeah, you got to kind of like Schultz again with Cooper out. Arnold's fine, but he's just a high floor guy, and that's it. So I'd probably take a chance with Schultz too, unless your team is just stacked and you just need like a safe 8 to 10 points from your tight end. Then Arnold will get you that.
Yeah, the thing is, it's really not a good matchup on paper for Arnold. 49ers, good defense, but also pretty tough against tight ends.
How long is Cooper out? We already talked about that. He's definitely going to miss Thursday because he's unvaccinated, so it's a minimum 10 days. So he's definitely going to miss the Thursday game as well. Okay, our first Saquon question. Start Jeff Wilson or risk it with Saquon?
Oh, come on. Like, there's no risk with Jeff Wilson. Come on. This is yeah, I get there's risk, but still, I'm going Saquon.
Yeah, definitely Saquon. Let's see what happened. Why does it do this? It just scrolled like 5 pages down or something. Let me try to find where I just was. That's annoying. Sorry, guys.
We do have a few minutes left. Just a reminder, if you didn't get your question answered, you want more time with us, whatever it may be, or you just feel like we're deserving of some extra kindness and support, we would appreciate that. Think about joining the Patreon, and there's information in the description below. Did I sell that well enough? I think I did.
Yeah. All right. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what happened to YouTube. It just scrolled down like 10 pages and I can't scroll. It won't let me scroll back up. I don't know if there's too many comments or what. So I apologize if I skipped your question. Steelers or Titans?
Based on all the injuries, I'm going to go with the Titans.
Yeah, Titans definitely there. Foreman or Darrell Williams?
Ooh, that's interesting. Man, okay. So how many touches is Darrell Williams going to get this week? I have no idea. I have no idea. The thing that makes Foreman interesting is that McNichols is out. So Foreman is going to be the guy who's catching passes, and it's the Texans. I mean, I don't know if I would start him over Williams based on how good Williams has been, but I mean, yeah, there's a chance Foreman outscores him this week. Look, if you need the chance for a big game, then I guess you would go with Foreman.
Yeah, I don't like Petty Le'Veon Bell yeah. I think this is a time when I would probably just roll Williams and hope he gets more of the touches. I don't like Foreman. What's the difference between Foreman and Alex Collins? I don't know.
Well, the thing with Foreman going against the Texans, right? One of the worst run defenses.
True.
It's the matchup, plus he's getting the pass catching work. So with McNichols out, he's almost has the backfield to himself, not quite because Peterson is still there, but we could see Foreman take more touches away. So I think it's a good spot for Foreman. It's just we have no idea how involved Darrell Williams is going to be. That's the tricky part. You hate to just bench him and then be wrong, but if CH is playing, I'd say if we get word that I think this might be something, maybe you'll hear something on Sunday morning about Edward Hilaire, like how much he's going to play or not play, or if he's going to play. Like if he doesn't play, it's easily Darrell Williams. If he's going to be limited, then you go Darrell Williams. If it's going to be he's full go, I take a chance on Foreman.
There you go. And we got another super chat from Stephen Drakes. Needs 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers. So 2 running backs between Collins, Jeff Wilson, and Foreman.
So in this case, I start Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, definitely Jeff Wilson.
I have a hard time picking Collins. I go Foreman, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, at least he is in a better matchup. And then for 2 wide receivers, Ayuk, Gallup, Thielen, Crowder.
Okay, so of those, definitely Gallup and Thielen, like you said, kind of touchdown dependent. I put Crowder last out of that group.
Yeah, Crowder is not even a factor. But Ayuk's kind of no
Ayuk's interesting.
target. Ayuk's kind of no target dependent. That's his big issue. Not getting any targets.
Yeah, I mean Ayuk is risky for sure. So, I mean, if those are your starters, then I would say I would go Thielen just to be a little safer.
Yeah, I think Gallup and Thielen for me as well. Barter Mania, Montgomery or Dillon in the flex. There's an interesting one.
I mean, I like Montgomery, but not more than Dillon.
Yeah, I think Dillon too. Cam Newton or Jimmy G?
Newton.
I agree. Pick those running quarterbacks, guys. Come on. Let's see. I think we did this one. Schultz, Fryermuth, or Komet in PPR?
Met.
Yep, Komet. Pittman or Gibson at the flex? Yikes.
And we're both down on Pittman this week. I mean, obviously it's as bad a matchup as it can get, right? Buffalo, and then he's got Tre'Davious White on the other side. But it doesn't mean that he's going to get a 0. Like Pittman's their top receiver, and if Jonathan Taylor isn't able to, just run over the defense, which he won't, they're going to have to throw it Pittman's way. So sometimes, even in these tough matchups, the top receiver can still be productive. So I don't bench Pittman outright. He's not going to have a great game probably, but I think I would still go with Pittman over somebody who just doesn't have as much upside.
Yeah, I would still chance it with Pittman here. Ingram or Pittman, full PPR?
Ingram, because Ingram should be fine.
Fryermuth or Hawkinson?
In this case, I'd stick with Hawkinson.
I agree. Seahawks defense or Eagles defense rest of the season? I don't have one defense rest of the season. Stream defenses.
I mean, if those are your defenses, then yeah, you neither one is necessarily a solid option for the rest of the season.
Yeah, just stream defenses.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully there's somebody better.
Wow, need to start Booker or Jordan Howard in PPR. So they're both backups now, but I think I'd probably go with Howard because at least I feel like he might get some touches. If Saquon's healthy, Booker's not touching the ball.
That's the thing, really. It should be Booker because Howard is going to see fewer touches with Sanders back, and it's a terrible matchup. I had Howard as a bust. It's a must sit because I already said Saints fewer than 3 yards per carry, and Howard doesn't catch the ball. So really, he'll get like 20 yards, and you hope and pray for a touchdown. But Booker might not even see the field. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You're kind of hoping. I mean, you're kind of hoping, praying that Saquon does get hurt if you're starting Booker, and we don't want that. So
no, and I think Howard will still get some touches, even with.
He'll get some touches. He just won't do anything with them.
That's true.
But he could score.
Darrell Williams or T. Higgins? I think we're definitely T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Let's see. Again, trying to look at ones where we haven't because a lot of the same players over and over. Tua or Tannehill?
I don't want to answer this question. I don't want to say because in my job, I have to be somewhat objective and pick who I think is going to score higher. And it is Tannehill, but.
Ooh, I would go Tua. There, I'll do it for you. I would go Tua. I like Tua. I mean, I know it's Houston. I know it is Houston, so he's got a great matchup too. Yeah.
It's pretty close.
Let's see. Uptown Girl, one of my childhood favorites. Piano Man, a drinking favorite. There you go.
Oh yeah, every piano bar has about 10 Billy Joel songs lined up. I'll tell you the best one of the best videos for those who remember MTV when they played music videos is Uptown Girl for obvious reasons.
Yes, go check it out. I'm sure it's on YouTube. Here we go. Mike Williams or Pittman this week?
I do have, believe it or not, Mike Williams a little higher. Again, I think that the Chargers will kind of bounce back on offense. I think they'll take some shots with Williams. Wouldn't surprise me if Pittman outscored him, but I just don't think the upside with Pittman is quite there. At least Williams has a shot for a bigger play.
Yeah, this is the week I'd start Williams over him. Flex Elijah Moore, Dante Foreman, or Zach Moss.
I like Moore in this matchup because the Dolphins, as good as they looked on defense the last 2 weeks, it wasn't really against, prolific passing offenses, and the Jets are going to have to pass the ball because they can't run the ball. And Xavier Howard, I talked about this. He's going to be all over Corey Davis. He's going to be on the outside. Moore works out of the slot. I think Moore is going to get peppered with targets. Moore's kind of taking over that job. So I think this with Flacco in, they're going to kind of have that Mike White mentality where they're just going to try to sling the ball. It's not going to work necessarily, but I feel like Moore is coming on, and he has got a good shot.
All right, this one's going to test you. Miles Sanders or J.D. McKissick?
J.D. McKissick.
Ooh, that was no test. That was
no.
Instant.
There's no test.
No test. Brian, yeah, I got your question. I hope you saw it. I hope you heard us. Josh Jacobs or Cordero Patterson? Is that somebody trolling us? Start Cordero Patterson. Start him.
Yeah, see how that works.
He already played, but B, he actually did not play.
Yeah, he already.
Okay.
Maybe rest of the season. Did you ask me rest of the season?
I don't think so.
I mean, if it's the rest of the season, I'd go Patterson. But
let's see. Again, a lot of the same, like Ingram, Darrell Williams, T. Higgins. Like I feel like we've had that question 10 times, or we've had those guys that get in every question. Again, I'm looking for questions we haven't really gotten. So yeah, we did that. We said Deontay Harris, Brian. Mark Ingram or Gibson. I think we did that. Ingram.
I mean, we haven't had any Dernis Johnson questions. What's up with that?
Oh, because Nick Chubb's back.
Yeah, but Johnson still get a few touches and pass catching. I mean, come on.
All right. I don't think we've done. All right. Well, who sit one in full PPR? Sit one. Robbie Anderson, Jarvis Landry, Cole Beasley, or T. Higgins. So definitely don't sit T. Higgins.
I'm tempted, believe it or not, to go with Landry here because he's been banged up. And against Detroit, I mean, they barely pass the ball as it is anyways. They're not going to need to pass the ball against Detroit. So I don't think there's really any upside with Landry.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield might only throw the ball 10. Like if it's third and long, this is going to be the only time he throws the ball is when it's third and long. So yeah, he might only throw it 10. And then, I mean, full PPR, DeAndre Hopkins or Brandon Cooks. Where you been, dude? DeAndre Hopkins is out.
That's an easy one. It's not Hopkins.
You got to get to our show at the beginning when we announce all the who's in and who's out.
That's right, guys. So also Sunday morning, you can check out the latest and ask your questions with us. But here's the catch: you have to be a patron. So check that out, guys. We're about to wrap up. We'll do a couple more, but look at the description below and look for information on that. Let me also throw this out there. A lot of people in the Endgame community that we chat with on Discord are joining us on Underdog because they are one of our sponsors. And there's somebody who, I mean, you have to love all the formats because it's not just like DFS. You can do a draft with 3 teams, 6 teams, the small leagues. We're creating private leagues. You can actually compete with the 2 of us in a league we just drafted a couple of days ago. I took some chances. I think I took Devontae Smith as my second receiver. We'll see how that turns out, but I'm going for upside, right? And you can also do, I'm actually really digging the pick'ems where you can do over unders and some of those prop bets you guys like to do. So if you want to pick between guys, but not necessarily in your lineup because you don't have them, you can still do some of those picks on Underdog. It's super easy. So if you haven't signed up, check it out. Of course, use Endgame as a promo code.
Yes, use Endgame. They will, if you haven't ever signed up and you sign up and use Endgame, they will match your first deposit 100%. So if you deposit $50, they'll give you $50. If you deposit $100, they'll give you $100. So free money. Take advantage of that.
Free money is always good. And I can guarantee you can actually win, unlike like DraftKings that played for years and never win anything because you're going up against millions of guys, all those sharks. I did a thing, just a pick 'em quick thing last week, 4 picks. Boom, I hit it, $100. Just like that. I'm up and I only put in 10. So I guarantee you it actually is a way you could make money.
All right, we got a super chat real quick from Jawan Flythe. Apologies if I mispronounced that. Pick two. I feel like we've had this question 50 times today, but pick two. Ingram, Gibson, or Jeff Wilson in full PPR. So Ingram definitely.
Ingram definitely. Normally you would think Gibson, but we're down on Gibson this week. Wilson is, there's risk involved. I'm kind of trying to throw some cold water on everybody thinking Wilson is going to win your league this year. Maybe, but Elijah Mitchell will probably also be back next week. So this week, because Mitchell is out and Hasty is out and Trey Sermon is in the doghouse for whatever reason, Shanahan just hates him. So this week, I would say, yeah, I can go with Wilson.
I agree with those two. And I just want to say, I saw a comment from THHCC. He said, these guys have inspired me to start a fantasy YouTube channel. Do it. Highly recommend it.
Nice.
Jeremy Miller, Tua, Wentz, or Carr?
Tua, Wentz, or Carr?
You actually have go ahead. Well, I actually have a similar decision in my 2QB league, but it's between Tua and Carr, not Wentz.
Okay, well, you can't go with Wentz. I mean, because the best defense in the league there. It's definitely not Wentz. It's close. Again, I was all over Tua earlier in the week. I thought, oh, it's the Jets. But again, I don't necessarily assume this will be a game where they run up the score. The Dolphins just, I mean, if the Dolphins are going to have a ton of pass volume and get a ton of points, I think it's because they're going to need to, because they'll be down. And I don't think that's going to be the case with the Jets. So I'm going to go with Carr.
Okay, well, I currently have Tua in there against the Jets, but it's very close for me, so I'm okay with Carr.
See, and here's the benefit of having like 10 or however many different leagues I'm in, because I have Tua in like 5 leagues, of course. So I can start him in some and bench him in others, and then that way I've hedged my bet.
There you go. And then, all right, last question from AB: Miles Davis or John Coltrane at the flex?
Okay, so Giant Steps is probably my favorite album, but I think Davis's whole body of work, I think is got to be better. I know Bitches Brew is like the 1.1 of jazz albums, but I kind of like Kind of Blue. That's my personal favorite. It's like mood music. So I'm going with Davis.
There you go. That was the most important question of the entire show right there. Miles Davis or John Coltrane.
But a sleeper for those who don't know is Thelonious Monk. I mean, if you dig the piano vibe, that's the way to go.
There you go. I had no idea you were so into this. So musically, I don't know what the word is. So I don't know what the word is. Blank.
Yeah, I am. I can't play music, but I'm really good at listening to
it. Yes, there you go. Like most of us.
There you go. I have a wealth of knowledge of music, especially 80s and 90s hip hop, and that's something that we have in common, right?
So that is. I'm not as big into jazz as you are, apparently, but definitely 80s, 90s hip hop much more. All right, guys, there we go. That does it for this week. Good luck in week 10. Don't forget, if you want to join us tomorrow morning, check out the description below. Join the Patreon. It's incredibly cheap. I shouldn't say cheap because that makes it's incredibly valuable. How about that? Incredibly valuable.
Surprisingly affordable.
Surprisingly affordable. Also, don't forget the Discord. That is also in the link below. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button. What do the kids say? You gotta smash that like button.
Smash it. Don't just you can't click it. You have to smash it.
You gotta smash it. Break your computer screen. No, don't do that. Because then you can't join our Patreon because you need your computer. Don't do that. All right. Any last words, Pierre? This one really went off the rails today. Any last words?
Look, one thing I will say is trade deadlines are coming up. We know this. Some of our leagues, especially on Sleeper, getting notifications. This is it. This is your trade deadline. So if you have a chance tonight, watch Chris's trade videos, give you some ideas on some smart moves to make to improve your team, because you have to do it now before the playoffs. Hopefully you guys are all in contention, of course. And at this point, either you need to do something to get into the playoffs, or if you're one of the front runners, because you've been watching us all season, you're going to do what it takes to be the lead dog and to win throughout the playoffs. So check out those videos if you haven't already, and then make those moves. Be proactive. Don't just wait. We're trying to always keep you one step ahead. So just something to throw out there. But good luck as always. And join us on Discord. Join us on Patreon if you would like. If not, we'll see you next week.
All right, guys. Good luck in week 11. See you next